A bunch of new Star Trek Blu-rays came out in the spring of 2023, so let's take a look at them.
It's morphin' time!
Hello, this is Soundout here, and welcome back to another video about Blu-rays. Today we'll be taking a look at the Star Trek Next Generation 4K movie collection, the Star Trek Strange New Worlds 4K Season 1 collection, and the Star Trek Lower Decks Season 3 Blu-ray. We're going to go in order of release, because this has got a lot of stuff to talk about, this has got a lot of stuff to talk about, and this is something people may not know about. So, let's take a look at some recent Star Trek Blu-rays. So releasing on April 4th, 2023, we have the Star Trek Next Generation's 4 movie collection. This is the 4K upgrade for the TNG movies. This follows a similar release pattern to the Star Trek Original Movies 6 collection, as well as the 4-pack that came before it, but we'll just kind of ignore that. So you can kind of see they make nice companion pieces. They both have the black starry background, the Star Trek logo there, some artwork that I think looks way better on the TOS art than it does the TNG. This one, it's kind of interesting because you got characters like Shinzon here, looking all right, and there's Dr. Soran and the Sona guy that I can't remember the name of, and they got Worf, and you got Deanna and Beverly, and the Borg Queen and Geordi, and then of course Picard, Riker, and Data up top. I remember when the art was first revealed, it looked really melty, like everybody's faces were just a blur. It did turn out a lot better on the final product. It's very similar to this collage of people for the TOS set, but I do think it turned out all right. And you can see the Enterprise D and the E, the Borg Cube and the Borg Sphere, that kind of thing. So I think it worked out pretty good. And if you put these two next to each other on a shelf, they're going to look pretty awesome because, well, yeah, this is a much thicker set because there's more movies, but you can see that they actually lined it up pretty good, all things considered. I think they look really nice on the shelf together. For me, I have, TOS with the series, and then the TNG series, and then the movies. But you got that. Now, of note, this is kind of interesting, they printed all the details on the back with this one. For the TNG movies, for whatever reason, it's a separate paper thing, which kind of makes it look cleaner when you take it out of the shelf, but it is kind of strange that they printed it on one and then just kind of left it like this on the other. Very weird stuff, but it's not too bad. I'm not going to really be complaining about that because I kind of like the cleaner look anyways, but it's not that big of a deal. The inner case here, you can see 4K Ultra HD, you got the 3 characters here. There is a digital code for all 4 movies. You get Generations, First Contact, Insurrection, and Nemesis on 4K, and Generations, First Contact, Insurrection, and Nemesis on Blu-ray. And unlike some other sets for some other studios, these are the new 4K transfers on these new Blu-ray discs, and the Blu-ray discs do contain these special features. And pretty much everything is retained special feature-wise from the previous releases. There is some minor exclusions, and by minor I mean there is one bonus disc missing. We saw this the case with the 6-movie set for TOS, that the bonus disc from the 2009 Blu-rays wasn't included. So Star Trek Evolution's bonus disc, which contains everything you see here, that is not included on this set, and that's a bummer, but luckily if you do have the 2009 Blu-ray set that has that bonus disc, you're all set with just that one disc. But other than that, you have all the bonus features specific to each movie, as opposed to these bonus features that cover all the movies. So you do have a pretty well-rounded set overall. And you're probably also wondering, what is the, actual difference movie-wise? Well, here's the thing. There's been some controversy about the transfers for these movies, simply because the 2009 transfers of these films over-sharpened them. It tried to make them look HD by over-sharpening, and in some cases, like Generations, got an entire green tint on the movie for some reason, and it was done with a more automated process. The 4Ks go back to the original film print and match the original color tones and color grading of the original films. So the thing is that the new 4K transfers for both the TNG movies as well as the TOS movies may look strange to you if the only versions of these movies you've ever seen were the 2009 Blu-rays. And that's also understandable because this is the version that's been circulating for 14 years. So it's kind of an interesting thing where they did a really great job of matching the color grading back to the original theatrical versions, but for some people it's not going to look right because they're kind of used to this. So if you are used to this, that's fine. But if you want the original actual theatrical presentations, the color grading and the way that everything is composed, as well as an actual detail level that doesn't make everything look waxy, you're going to want the 4Ks. But if you want to see a comparison of how they are to each other, TrekCore made some great videos with the Next Generation movies recently, and I'll leave a link in the description because I think you should check it out if you're kind of on the fence. Me personally, I would say if you want the true-to-film, actual color-graded, properly, the best look of the movies as how they were intended to be, these are the sets to absolutely pick up. I absolutely recommend these from a personal standpoint. But for some people, it may just look wrong and this is their version of it. There are people that prefer the special editions for Star Wars compared to the theatricals for a similar reason. So it's always a big thing to discuss because these change the image so much, you may not be familiar with what was the original. Personally, I do want always the original version of something, what it was intended to be, regardless if it looks better later. I always want that option, and this is nice to finally get that with these 4Ks. So options may vary. Do your own research in addition to this video, but for me personally, I'd say there's no better presentation for these 10 movies than what's presented right here. So getting shows that are streaming exclusives on disc is kind of rare, but Paramount's done a good job with Star Trek in releasing the current shows onto discs for people to have options to see them, or people that just want to own things and have bonus features. Now, another thing that also gets left out in the Blu-ray discussion is animated shows, especially animated comedies. So when Star Trek Lower Decks Season 1 featured a full-on Star Trek level release where it got a fancy-dancy steelbook, as well as a normal general release at retail, containing all episodes of the season in addition to bonus features, I was pretty stoked and I bought it instantly. However, it does seem that not everybody jumped on it like I did, because when Season 2 came around, it still was released at general retail, but there was no steelbook edition offered. And it pretty much is the same thing. You've got 2 discs, all the bonus features, but you may notice it says over 1 hour of bonus features, whereas on this one, it's 2 hours of bonus features. Still a lot of great stuff about the second season of the show. And then when Season 3 got announced for its home video release, I saw a listing only for a DVD edition and panicked a little bit, because clearly they weren't selling enough steelbooks to go, okay, we'll just not do a steelbook for Season 2. And then I was getting worried they were going to do a DVD-only release for Season 3. Luckily, that wasn't the case, but there is a little bit of an asterisk here. So on April 25th, we got Lower Decks Season 3 on DVD and Blu-ray. However, if you want the Blu-ray, it is a manufactured on-demand release from Amazon. So that means is that it may go in and out of stock as they have to produce more as the demand matches it. And that also means we did get a little bit less in the bonus features, which is we only get 2 actual featurettes, Docking at DS9 and Lower Dictionary Season 3. However, there are 5 audio commentaries out of 10 episodes, so it's not a downgrade in any ways. The discs do look a little different because they are gray instead of blue, even though these are Blu-rays, and it does contain the whole show on 2 discs. You notice there is nothing in the background of the Blu-ray, kind of like on Season 2. You got the layout back here that would tell you about each episode and give you screenshots. So they kind of did downgrade the packaging, which is a little bit of a bummer. However, what I'm happy to report is that on the discs themselves, they still have the full animated menus with the montages and everything. You still get all the bonus features listed with each episode like they did the previous ones, which was great. So the only thing that's different is the actual process. So a lot of times when you get manufactured on demand, something like a Warner Archive release, you will get simplified menus, simplified packaging. It'll just start up, quiet menu. You just push button and you go. But with Lower Decks Season 3, it feels in line with Season 2 and Season 1. The only thing that's really downgraded here is the packaging and release strategy. Season 1 you could buy everywhere, but honestly, I never saw the Season 1 Blu-ray in stores, just like I don't see Star Trek Blu-rays in stores. I see the DVDs at Target, but I never see the Blu-rays. But that means, yeah, no steelbook for Season 2 or 3, and then that also means no slipcover because it's a manufactured on-demand release. So this is one of those things where, you know, it's not like they suddenly left a slipcover off like they did with Discovery. That was a full retail release and should have had one. This is one of those cases where, yeah, your set's not going to match up, but this is also one of those cases where I'm just glad to have it. The concern that I had from Season 2 to Season 3 was packaging consistency, and that is definitely a thing. As you can see, it's completely formatted different. And at this point, I can't let these things bother me because I'm realizing, how much of a blessing it is that Lower Decks got a third season on Blu-ray. And I hope that season 4 will also get a Blu-ray, even if it has to be manufactured on demand. If that's what makes the corporate heads happy, in order for us to continue to get the show on Blu-ray, I will take it. It is very concerning when an HD show comes out only on DVD because it shows a lack of insight from the people making it and a lack of commitment. So I'm glad that, it seems like these two didn't sell well enough to do season 3 Blu-ray as a retail release, probably because stores weren't ordering it, because again, I don't ever see these Blu-rays in stores, but I'm glad that Paramount said, no, we still need to put a Blu-ray out and just released it as a manufactured on demand. So if you want Lower Decks season 3 and you're having trouble finding it from places, go check Amazon. Maybe some other retailers will pick it up as well. But I'm glad to have the show on Blu-ray, and if this is how we have to do it in the future, so be it. And now it comes down to Strange New Worlds. Now, this is interesting. So with Strange New Worlds, we got the full solicitation. Blu-ray, Steelbook, Season 1 complete collection. It was originally released March 21st, 2023. I had originally planned to buy the Steelbook edition because I do prefer Steelbooks, and I did have that on pre-order. However, before that was released, a new pre-order popped up for a May 16th Strange New Worlds Season 1 Steelbook 4K edition. And I thought, okay, they do produce these shows in 4K. They stream them in 4K. If there's a 4K, let's go for it. And so that's what we have here. Now, there is something to be noted. This Steelbook did sell out as a limited edition Steelbook. However, unlike another Paramount show that I can't remember the name of, this is not only on Steelbook. So there's another show that released on 4K Steelbook, and that was the only way to get the 4K was in the Steelbook. There is a standard release of the 4K coming out later June 6th. And the fact that the show has got a DVD, a Blu-ray Steelbook, a 4K Steelbook, shows how frickin' popular Strange New Worlds must be, because this is an insane spread for the first season of the show. But I'm glad to see it because this show doing well means Star Trek is doing well. And so in general, I do love Strange New Worlds, and I did really enjoy the first season, so this is definitely a good pickup. Now, you're probably wondering, is it that much better getting the 4K? Well, first things first, it does have all the bonus features featured on the Blu-ray, several featurettes, gag reel, deleted scenes, and audio commentaries on a couple episodes. Also of note, the final episode of Season 1, for those that have seen it, does contain an episode called The Quality of Mercy that does a callback to an episode of the original series called Balance of Terror. And so on Disc 3, I guess because they had space and they thought it'd be a great feature, which it was, you do get Balance of Terror from the original series as a bonus to go with A Quality of Mercy. So that is a really cool bonus. In general, I love the packaging, especially because of the teaser poster art with the Enterprise and the guy on the horseback. Really cool. And I love the back art where it takes the character stills and then does a silhouette of them. That just looks really, really cool. Inside, the show is on 3 4K discs with a nice little cosmic-y background in the back. There is 4 episodes on disc 1, 4 episodes on disc 2, 2 episodes on disc 3, but also that original series episode is included. And then there is bonus features galore. This is a fully featured release, and I'm glad to see a 4K release have bonus features on it because that doesn't happen all the time. For example, the TNG movies, those 4Ks just have the commentaries on them. But the other nice part is that I don't have to have an extra Blu-ray copy, and essentially, yeah, it's on streaming anyways. So if I was going to watch it outside of playing it on my 4K player, there's that. But if you do want a Blu-ray copy, you're going to have to buy this twice. And that's the only unfortunate part. But for me, I don't mind it because I really just want to stick to the 4K. And in general, it just looks and sounds fantastic. I was checking out some of the episodes. I haven't done a full rewatch yet. I'm going to do that closer to Season 2 premiering, which is also nice that the 4K for Season 1 is going to be out before Season 2. But the featurettes look great. I think the overall show just looks fantastic. Having watched Picard and Discovery on Blu-ray when those shows had 4K presentations on streaming, you could definitely tell that the Blu-ray uncompressed was still better than streaming 4K, but this is just another level beyond. I'm actually really, really impressed because these things are produced in 4K. Getting them on the proper 4K format means you're getting the full res, the full color, the full detail. It just looks incredible. It's a digital 4K show, but it's amazing. It doesn't look like film. It looks like a digital 4K show, but that extra range and dynamicism definitely shows all the work and artistry that was done into the visual effects, to the shots, to the cinematography, to the costume work. You get all those kind of depths and details that I think a normal Blu-ray wouldn't have. Now, for those of you that don't have a 4K player, just get the normal Blu-ray. That's going to be great. If it's anything like the Discovery Blu-rays, it'll be really good. And so I think that the 4K for this is fantastic. Hopefully we'll see more 4Ks for the TV shows, particularly Picard Season 3, I think is a fan favorite one that they want in 4K. I would love to see them maybe do a 4K box set of all of Picard. I wouldn't mind rebuying the first 2 seasons on 4K. It's just nice to see that, you know, while I'm a little bit concerned when we got Lower Decks as manufactured on demand, Paramount still seems to be in the home media game, and maybe with the streaming landscape not turning out to be the cash cow that all the studios were hoping for, we'll see more fancier releases of Star Trek shows. Come on DS9 and Voyager in HD. I know it'll cost a lot on Paramount's side, but they could make a bunch of money, I think. So anyways, that is our Star Trek update. So here is a shelf update. We got the TOS/animated series set, the TOS movies, TNG, the TNG episode director cuts, the TNG movies, DS9, Voyager, documentaries, because there's just not room to stick Enterprise there. And then over here, we got Enterprise, the Kelvin movies, 4 seasons of Discovery, short treks, 2 seasons of Picard, 3 seasons of Lower Decks, 1 volume of Prodigy, 1 season of Strange New Worlds, and a couple Star Trek soundtracks, and then also a collection of toys, because that's where the Prodigy figures are hanging out my Tom Paris plate at the moment. So ultimately, I talk about how things look on a shelf a lot, just because you do see this more than you see the discs, let's be honest. And in general, I think, you know, it's always kind of a bit of a hodgepodge, but there's some consistency to each show. But yeah, the overall streaming era, it's a lot mixed up design-wise compared to those. But maybe we'll get some box sets for like Discovery when it's complete. We'll get a box set for that, maybe one for Picard, etc. And then maybe things will line up a little bit better. But overall, I just love that pretty much all of Star Trek that's aired, minus like some Prodigy and Picard, is all sitting on my shelf right now. So that's it for Star Trek releases for now. Like, outside of the regular 4K release for Strange New Worlds in June, we don't know of any future releases. There is 10 episodes of Prodigy that haven't been released yet, as well as Season 3 of Picard, which hopefully we'll see a 4K of. So stay tuned, because I definitely will be talking about Star Trek Blu-rays and more here on the channel, especially more Star Trek toys, hopefully as more come up in the future. So if you haven't had a chance yet, hit subscribe and notification bell, leave a like while you're down there, leave a comment and tell me which Star Trek release that hasn't happened that you want to see most. I'm really pulling for Picard 4K at this point. It feels the most realistic kind of ask at this stage of the game. But I really do love that we're still getting Star Trek on disc. Also, be sure to check out my live streams Mondays at 5 p.m. Eastern, where I'll talk about Star Trek news from here or there, as well as toy news in general, and other Blu-ray and other related things. I do a mix of things on the channel. Also, be sure to check out my social media at Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Soundout12, as long as those are applicable. You can also find my awesome graphic designer on Twitter at DarkClaw643, and Hero Club at Hero-Club.com for geek news and more. And until next time, this is Soundout saying, live long and prosper.